Hey guys, what's going on? Yankee Dewey here, and welcome to the channel. And today we're going to be doing a review, a one-year review more specifically, of my 2016 Mustang GT, as well as 5 things I love about my 2016 Mustang GT. Alright, so before we get into the 5 things I love about my 2016 Mustang GT, let's talk a little bit about the ownership experience over the past year. And I just want to say that over the course of the last year, the ownership experience has been great. I have had absolutely zero issues, zero problems with the car. It has been phenomenal. I've had absolutely no reason to take the car into the shop for other than, things like just oil changes and tire rotations, stuff like that. And it's been great. It's been really fun. My biggest thing about this is that the car has had absolutely no problems whatsoever. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be any problems in the foreseeable future, so that's really, really good. Not only that, but the dealership experience has been really good as well. I've taken this car to 2 different dealerships, and, this is my very first Ford, so I wasn't really familiar with Ford dealerships and how they kind of operate in that. I'm very familiar with Chevrolet. I'm very familiar with Dodge. But as far as Ford is concerned, I never really had been in a Ford dealership or never really had to do business with a Ford dealership. But I will say that the dealership experience overall has been really, really good. Fortunately, I can't say that for Chevrolet, and I cannot say that for Dodge. They've been fair, and they haven't screwed me out of anything at all. So they've done everything that they said they were going to do, so that's really, really good. So I guess this would be probably a good time for me to talk about why I chose a Mustang over a Camaro or like a Dodge Challenger or Charger. And, I kind of had told this story once before on this channel, but, I'm not really going to get too much into it. But, around the middle of 2015 or so, I was really looking, and I was in the market for buying, either a Challenger, Charger, Mustang, or Camaro. And I really was leaning toward a Challenger more than anything, a Challenger 392. A friend of mine was also leaning toward that, and we were kind of like, obsessing over it. And we were talking about how we were both going to get our Challengers, and, we were going to do all these things and stuff like that. And it was really a lot of fun. But, when it came time to actually going out and buying a car, I decided that I was going to go ahead and I was going to test each and every single one of them. And long story short, in the end, I just found the Mustang to be more appealing. I've always had a love for Mustangs. I've always had a love for Mopars. Not really so much Camaros, and that's not a diss to the Camaro guys out there, okay? I've always been kind of a Trans Am guy at heart anyway. Even more than Mustang, even more than Mopar, but yeah, so, it was a really great choice, and I got the car for a fantastic price. It's a base GT, so it's got, nothing really fancy to it or anything like that. It does not have the performance package, but I got it for such a great price, it really didn't matter in the end. I got it for $25,160, which is pretty damn good, even by Mustang standards here in Texas or in the South in general, where you can get Mustangs for really, really cheap from the dealership. But yeah, getting a new Mustang for $25,160, Camaro, Challenger, Charger, whatever, they weren't going to give me that kind of deal. Okay, they just weren't. So I went with a Mustang because I have a love for Mustangs. I'm really into the heritage, as well as Mopars as well. But I really, really wanted. I don't know. I just really like the Mustang. I'm going to get into the 5 reasons why I love my 2016 Mustang GT, so let's get on with that. Alright, so let's talk about the first reason number 1, why I love my 2016 Mustang GT. And, well, we're going to start right here underneath the hood. This is the Ford 5-liter Coyote V8 modular engine, and it is, as I stated before, really the number 1 reason why I bought this car. I just want to say that I absolutely love this engine. I love everything about it. I love its characteristics. So what really attracted me to this engine more than anything, I think it's kind of, loose and, free revving nature. I think that was really what attracted me to this engine the most. I hate to admit it now, but I did used to be a big GM fanboy, and I always was very much into, of course, the LS motors. And one of the kind of, I guess you say, negative characteristics, at least in my view, of the LS engines are the fact that they really don't like to rev. They really strain. You know, I think if the engine could talk, it would tell you to kind of cut it out, you know, if you get it really high in the RPM range. But this Coyote V8, you know, it loves to rev. It's a very free revving engine. I would say this thing really begins to party at about 4,000 RPM and above. And that is just what has attracted me to it so much. It's just such a fun, free, loose, you know, high revving motor. From the factory, it produces 435 horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque. Now, in my particular car, we're making a little bit more than that. We got the GT350 cold air intake there. We got the GT350 throttle body as well. And of course, we got the Ford Performance Power Pack Stage 2 tune installed on the car, which has been really phenomenal. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about that, I got some videos, so go ahead and check out the rest of the channel to see those videos. But yeah, this is the first and number one reason why I love my 2016 Mustang GT. Alright, so let's talk about the second thing I love about this car, which is the looks. Now, Ford has, in my opinion, done a fantastic job with the looks of this car. You know, I think a lot of people were very, very worried when Ford announced the new Mustang, so to speak, and you know, people were very, very worried that since this was going to be a world car, that Ford was going to depart from its traditional Mustang roots in order to appeal to, let's say, Europe, for example. And one of the big things that a lot of people were worried about was the styling. And I think Ford has absolutely nailed the styling of this car. I really, really do. A lot of people kind of criticized it at first, that it had a very Ford corporate design language to it. A lot of people said that it looked like a Fusion, but you know, I think Ford absolutely pulled it off. I think they just did a fantastic job all the way around, and it really is one of the only cars out of the Camaro, you know, Challenger, Mopar kind of deal that really looks good from every single angle, and that's really played a part in the buying decision of this car. It just looks so good from every angle. I don't think I can find an angle that I dislike the look of the car. It just looks so good. And again, like I said, I think Ford did an amazing, amazing job. My favorite part of the car is the rear 3/4, and I know it's kind of in the garage here and I can't really get a look at it, but Ford did an amazing job all the way around. It just looks so good. And the 2018s, you know, they look good too, as far as I'm concerned. I know a lot of people were kind of, you know, talking about those and saying that they didn't look so good at first, but I really warmed up to them. But I think in a way I still prefer these 2015 through 17 Mustangs. I think they just look really good. And like I said, I think Ford just did an amazing job with this car all the way around and the looks. So like I said, every angle, I think it just looks fantastic. And that was one of the reasons why I bought it. All right, so the third thing has to be the daily use and daily drivability of the car. What I mean by that is just how easy to use and just practical this car really can be. Now, first, let's start here with the trunk, okay? Now, this is a very usable trunk, okay? You know, one of the things I disliked about the Camaro was how small the opening was here for the trunk, but in the Mustang, it's great. It's phenomenal. You get a lot of usable space. Now, mine not so much because I have the aftermarket GT350 rear seat delete kit installed, so I no longer have the function of folding down my rear seats, but it's still a very, you know, usable trunk. It's still great, and I absolutely love that about this car. I love the practicality of it. It just really, really works. And let's go ahead and let's take a look at the interior real quick, and we'll find a very spacious and practical interior of the car. Now, I know a lot of people will kind of knock the base version of this car because, like I said before, this is the base car, but we can see the center stack here. And I know a lot of people will kind of think of it as an ugly center stack, and, you know, in a way I would kind of almost agree. I don't know what all of these keypads are doing over here. I don't know if Ford thinks that this car is a phone or what. But, you know, I love the tactile and analog feel of it. I mean, just everything feels so good. The buttons are very tactile and clicky, and I just love it. I don't know what it is. I just love it. And the car is very spacious on the interior as well. This is kind of a look that you would get if you were sitting in the car. And not only that, but the spatial awareness in the car, you know, you don't feel claustrophobic, again, like the Camaro. Sorry, I don't mean to pick on it, but it's a very nice car to drive, absolutely. And you can see out the back and the sides very, very easily. Again, it's a very user-friendly car. And that's one of the things I love about it. You know, you don't feel like you're making any compromises, so to speak. You feel as if, you know, you're just sitting in a normal car. And again, like, you're not really compromising anything. So, you know, it's just fantastic. I absolutely love it. Even in the base trim, has a lot of features. All right, so let's talk about the fourth thing I love about my 2016 Mustang GT, and that has got to be the overall structural or chassis rigidity of the car. Now, this is really only something that either a very, very keen Mustang fan or a car enthusiast is going to notice, but what I love about this car is just how Ford has designed the chassis and the body of the car to be extremely rigid. It's so much more firm and so much more rigid than any other Mustang that has come before it. And of course, you know, we got the independent rear suspension with this new S550 model, which of course was a big deal. And as much as I do love the independent rear suspension, I think I love the overall structural rigidity of the car. Now, I really didn't notice it all that much until I got the Ford Performance track suspension on this car. And ever since then, I had noticed just how structurally rigid this car is. You know, this car does have a great chassis to it, and it's very in line and very in tune with the GT350. I would say it's almost pretty much comparable to the GT350, and it really does make for a great feeling sports car rather than a muscle car. And that has been one of the very, very big things for me, is noticing that structural rigidity and noticing how much it plays in the overall dynamics of the car. It does. You take this thing on a back road with the, you know, with the installation of that Ford Performance track pack, and it just handles like a sports car. It really, really does. It's phenomenal. That is the fourth reason. It's just the independent rear suspension. It's how Ford has gone ahead and actually stiffened this thing up so that it can perform not only well on the back roads, but perform at the track. It just, again, like I said, I cannot stress to you enough, it's Ford's best effort so far in a GT, and it just feels amazing. All right, guys, so the fifth and final thing I love about my 2016 Mustang GT has got to be the aftermarket scene. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, anything and everything that you could possibly want for this car in the aftermarket is available. And, you know, that's really one of the great things, like I said, about it. It's just anything you want, you can find in the aftermarket. I mean, literally anything you want, you can find. So if it's anything from performance exhaust to, you know, minuscule things like, for example, if you want the aerodynamics off of the GT350 in terms of the underbody design of the car, if you want that, you can find it. It is so incredibly diverse, and it's just so much available, and at many different price levels. It's crazy. It's incredible. I think it really is, and I'm going to go on a limb in saying this, but I think it's one of the best aftermarket scenes for a car out there right now today. And that includes this particular S550, that includes the S197, all the way back to the Fox body, and even beyond that. There is just such a large and diverse aftermarket that owning one of these cars does not become boring. I'll tell you that. Once you begin modifying, it never ends. It literally never ends. You get so addicted because there's just so many things out there available for, you know, for those who want to do a shoestring budget, for those who want to do a high-end, high-dollar budget. You know, it's all out there. It's there, and it's for you to explore and for you to do. And it's one of the great things about owning one of these cars. The aftermarket scene is just so incredible. It's so robust, and you will never have a problem finding anything you want for your particular Mustang out there in the aftermarket. It's just one of the best things about owning one. So that was it, guys. I just wanted to make the quick video. I wanted to talk about the one-year ownership experience, which for me has been pretty much drama-free, which is a good thing. And then I kind of wanted to touch upon the things that I liked about the car. But that doesn't mean that all is perfect. There are some things that I dislike about the car, and that'll be the next video that I'll make. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed watching. Make sure you go ahead and like the video, share, and if you really like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. There's a lot more on the channel, a lot more to come. So thank you guys for watching. Yankee Dewey signing out.